Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for watching this podcast series. As you know, this is a project that is aiming at actually presenting situations of education in Burkina Faso. And for this first postcard, we will be discussing the impact of COVID-19 on education, like teaching and learning. For this, we will be first exploring the context of education in Burkina Faso before COVID-19. And then we will be discussing what happened during COVID-19. During the COVID-19 break, there were some initiatives. I'm going to actually ask teachers and see how they experience those teaching periods during COVID-19. And then we will be last discussing like what happened after COVID-19. So like how do teachers aim at using the different skills that they got during the COVID-19 period? How would they be using those skills to improve teaching and learning after COVID-19? So thank you so much to be with us. And for the first interview, we'll be discussing like those three thematic and with some professors that you will discover. So bear with me. Hello everyone and welcome to this podcast series on education in Burkina Faso. This is Kuntiala Jean de Dieu Sommet, a doctorate student in education at the University of Illinois State University. So today I'm so lucky to bring on board somebody who is also passionate about English language, and with him we'll be discussing education in Burkina Faso and mainly the teaching and learning of English as a foreign language. So without waiting, I'm sure that my audience and I myself would like to know something about you. If you can maybe share some information about you before we start this discussion.
Well, so first of all, thank you for coming here. My name is Musa OUATTARA, and then I'm an English teacher, and I'm also the managing director of Open English Language Center. Okay, this is a language center specialized in training about general English and professional English. So, what else? Let's say. Well, I'm passionate about English, like you said. Yeah.
And also, like, can you talk a little bit about like your primary school journey, secondary school education, like what actually gets you into being interested in learning English and now you're teaching it?
All right. Let me say, I got interested in English since my primary school. Okay, because I had a schoolmaster who used to bring out some English words and English expressions. So I was very passionate about English, I decided then to continue my studies, at the English department since my primary school.
Wow.
Let me tell you, grade 5. Since grade 5. So my schoolmaster usually speaks English, sometimes he could say, "How are you? Where are you from?" I could hear him. He was speaking these, he was giving us these expressions, not for us to speak, but this is where I got fired about English. Let me tell you.
Wow.
And when I went to grammar school. When I went to grammar school, especially in Form 1. In Form 1, my English teacher was a lady, and I could speak English with her. And whenever she would show up for the class, I would just go and take a bag, greet her with the small English that I knew at that time. And let me tell you that my classmates, they were pointing me out. They were telling me, "Oh, you guys, you're boasting, you show cousin." And I said, "No, I'm speaking my English with my English teacher. What's your problem?" And the first test, I got 19 over 20, and they were really excited. they started, you know, admiring me, and and then I continued. Now, during my high school, I created an English club, and I was the chairman of that English club, especially at Lycée Municipal de Mafado and Bafora. So, and we continued, you know, speaking our English. If you understand this, and there was also a regional English club, okay, English fan club of Cascade, and then we're interacting with other clubs from different schools. So we also had an opportunity to get 1 hour per week at Radio Catholique de Bafora to deal with an English program every Sunday from 9 to 10. So we could easily practice our English at let's say on that channel. And after the baccalaureate, I continued to university to keep up with my dream. That is obviously, you know, studying English, because I've been appointed to that department. And then I continued my studies at the English department, and I rapidly got involved in the English club activities. The English club of the University of Ouagadougou, now University Professor Joseph. Yes. Now, I've been Deputy Secretary General there, and Secretary General, and also standing chairman of the English club of the University of Ouagadougou at that time. And this is what I can say.
Wow.
About mine. I have a lot, but I don't want to go far.
I would definitely say that like you had a clear path to teaching English, because I mean, from the very beginning, like primary school, you already had like the passion and then the commitment into learning the language. So yeah, compared to other people who were oriented into fields that they are not really committed to, it looked like you were actually in something you wanted.
Yeah,
and nice.
I was very sure of that.
That's perfect.
And I was lucky too to have the right people.
Definitely. Yeah, you could have that passion, and then they put you in history and geography.
This is what unfortunately happened to a lot of students.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was lucky.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so then you actually moved from the English department back to school, because you started teaching English in foreign language as a foreign language.
Yes.
In secondary school and in high school. Can you talk a little bit about how you get into teaching?
Good. Let me tell you that I got into teaching, let's say, with my connections. I had a friend who was dealing with nighttime classes. If I can mention the name of the school.
Yeah, no problem.
Lycée Bangri Ligia. And let me tell you that I've started teaching since my second year.
Second year in university?
Yes.
Okay, that's undergrad.
So at the given moment, let me tell you that we couldn't just stick to studies. We had to do other things in order to carry on our studies in the right way.
Oh yeah.
You got this.
Practical experience.
Yes. So since my second year, I have started teaching as a nighttime teacher. Surely temporary teaching, okay, not full time, just part-time teaching. And 1 year later, I continued this nighttime only. So I could go to school during the daytime, and during the evening times, I go to teach. So that's what I was doing. And the third year, I started daytime. Daytime plus nighttime.
Oh yeah.
And yes, and
plus school.
Yes, plus school. And let me tell you that after after 2 years of experience, I noticed that I was doing something that really pleased me a lot. Because I didn't start doing this because I only wanted money. I started doing this job because I'm passionate about English and teaching. The teaching profession is something that I desire because I like speaking and I also like sharing, my knowledge with, my environment.
That's good. And so then you get into it while you were still a student.
Second year student.
And so how about the professional development portion? Like, did you get any training on teaching methodology and pedagogy and how are some of the what are some of the difficulties that you face related to that?
Okay. Definitely I started teaching with no experience. Maybe I can say that I first of all got experience with my previous teachers because I'm somebody who likes learning a lot. Since high school, my English teacher who inspired me a lot. So I could easily see some pedagogical, techniques during his teaching period, and I could just drop some of them, and this is what I was actually using until I took a training in general pedagogy.
Oh, you're training in general pedagogy.
Yes.
Okay.
That was 2 years after.
2 years
After I had started teaching, of course. And that training was at the university. So it was a training open to the public. And I paid for it, and then I took the training. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot. And then only general pedagogy, not didactics, So now I continue teaching. This year is my 4th year of experience, but it is last year that I got admitted in CAPES. Yeah, this is
teacher training school.
Yes, and I went to the professional school of teachers in SK, Kudugu. So I went there to deal with the theoretical training. This is where I learned a lot of things about teaching, and I got fired again. I got inspired a lot. What I learned from Kudugu.
And from the training you got, like, did you see anything that you were doing that need to be improved?
Of course, because even by the time I was teaching, I had some difficulties. Of course, my passion could help me to continue doing the job the way I wanted, but I also came across some difficulties, and sometimes I would talk to the most experienced colleagues, who could give me some insights, and some pieces of advice in order to better my way. Now, right from Kudugu, I understood that I still needed a lot of things because sometimes I could behave as if I were the boss of the class, or I learned.
So classroom management skills.
Classroom management skills. I learned a lot about this. I learned about the sociology of education and a lot of things, how to handle with the rude students, and how to handle an indisciplined case during the class. I learned a lot about classroom management.
All right, and then now we had a situation in March where the government was called to close all schools, and then later on they had like some alternative approaches to teaching, that was tele-teaching and stuff. So can you share your experience during that period?
Good. At that time, schools have been closed. What I did personally, I created a WhatsApp group, and I tried to help, especially my students who were dealing with a final exam at the end of the year, because I had one class of Troisième and one class of Terminal. Then I created 2 WhatsApp groups to help these classes, and I was teaching them. I was doing my best to teach them many things about English, correct some old subjects, of the previous exams. This is what I try to do.
And so is it something that you tried before, or it was just something imposed by COVID-19?
It was imposed by COVID-19. I didn't actually have these WhatsApp groups. I only had one WhatsApp group that was for the English club that I created at my school, because I'm still inspired about this language. So this year is my 3rd year of experience with the English club of my students. So when I got the opportunity to teach at daytime, I created the English club the same year. This is the 3rd year. Now plus the other year, let's say the nighttime classes, this is now the 4th year general.
I'm so curious to know if you continue using the same WhatsApp group to reinforce what you teach in class.
Currently, no. I'm not using it because we are dealing with full time now. So for me, I have to do my best there physically because we need to say that the students, when it comes to virtual learning, okay, they are not so accustomed to that. And a lot of students during school time are not allowed to use their mobile phones to go into the internet. So some students also don't have money to invest in internet bundle. That's why I stopped.
And so, yes, this is very interesting to say because we noticed that online learning was also part of the national response to COVID-19. We had like online platform that were offering courses that the national system prepared. We had television that was also used as a mean. Do you think that that is maybe a call for us to start integrating those things into our education system?
Yes, I do. I do, because for the simple reason that we shouldn't only have one plan, and we are in the 21st century where people are much more using the internet, they're using the new technologies, and we need to really update and try to accommodate our system. For me, we shouldn't wait for an unwelcome situation before trying to implement these techniques, these new technologies. We have to integrate them definitely and try to train, first of all, teachers and also learners in the use of these materials.
And you were already into this, but I would just ask, like, I know COVID-19 brought like a close of school, we stopped the program and stuff, and all the different assistance that we were giving to students, it was much more focused on those who were preparing for the final exams. So those who were in transitory classes, they didn't finish their program. So when you resume classes, do you see any impact of that and fulfill program on the student levels in English, for example?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I have to tell you that at the meeting, the administration meeting at my school, before the school resumption, I even talked about this issue. I said last year a lot of transitory classes didn't finish their school program, and well, what are we doing for them this year? Are we going to have like an update or a review, like 1 month, 1.5 months, or 2 months before starting with the program of this year? Well, this was my big worry, but the answer given there was not satisfactory. It seemed like, well, everybody should do his or her best in order to fit the student needs. But what I noticed is that there was a real problem, and I'm right now reviewing what they were supposed to learn in the previous classes and trying to update. Since I have started, this is what I have been doing. This is what I have been doing. Let me tell you, I didn't start with the program of this year yet.
So you are still doing?
Yes, I'm still doing. Yes, reviewing and updating, preparing them You know, for me, this is like, if they are able to understand what they should understand before starting what they should do this year, that will ease my job.
And that means it will probably also impact this year program. Like
Sure.
you will either have to have extra hours
Yes.
to catch up with this school.
Fortunately for me, my school allows this.
Okay, good.
According to my school's rules of management, a teacher can make catch-ups. He can also ask for extra hours in case he thinks he is late. So I think with this, I can make catch-ups at any time, and also let's say request for extra hours in order to continue with the program at any time.
Yeah, but that would just require a lot of work.
Sure.
You are teaching. How many classes you teaching this year?
I have 4 classes.
So if you have to do like catch-up classes for the 4, yeah, that's a lot.
And I've started. For instance, if I miss a session because of a day off or a strike, I'm automatically catching up on the next opportunity.
Wow,
That's what I'm doing.
that's good. Thanks so much for this initiative, and I hope that it can inspire other people to also maybe.
Yes, if their schools allow them, because there are some private schools which don't allow this.
Because that involves adding much more money to
Of course. You see, some schools are happy if you miss, some classes.
Definitely, yeah.
Because you are also losing money.
Yeah.
Or if you come for extra hours, they know that they should also pay for
And
extra
sometimes
fees.
the funny thing, like they will be looking at you as you are looking for extra money.
Exactly.
Yeah, saying as you are supporting students.
I'm lucky enough, my school allows this.
That's good.
So
That's
I'm
good.
also trying to bring the best out of myself to help my learners.
That's good.
Yes.
That's also good. And then so now we to go into a recommendation because COVID-19 for some other way of analyzing the situation, we can say that it gave us a chance to see what is not working in our system or what need to be improved in our system. And I think we shouldn't like just run away from this experience. I think we should also be thinking critically about what happened and then see how we can use some of the lesson learned to improve maybe the system and start. So as a teacher on the ground, what kind of recommendation or what kind of thing do you think that we need to incorporate, we need to change, or we need to improve, and then benefit from this COVID-19 period experience?
Okay. This is a good question.
You're a good man.
I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, so quickly, I'll say, our system, everybody has noticed, what is wrong with the system. What is really wrong is that it is, it is not so satisfactory when it comes to difficult times. And COVID-19 is a perfect example that should teach everybody. And as a recommendation, I would say we have to improve this system by, first of all, allowing the teachers to have much more training in the domain of new technologies. Because not only the means weren't sufficient, but also the people, the actors who should use these means to teach were not trained. So training need to be done upon this. This is number one. Number two, we need to gather all the necessary materials in order to do this. You can have the people with you, but if you don't have the right materials, the right materials include what? We have the data. We have, there are many villages.
Data, you mean internet bundle?
Yes, internet bundle.
Okay.
We have, we have to do our best in order to include all the national territory, with this issue of internet. There are some villages nowadays, there's no network. The mobile network, there's no mobile network.
Yeah, no signal to call
Yes.
or text.
So it means this is a problem. this is a problem that should be solved first. If this is solved, now what we really need to teach, virtually should come now. This is the internet. If the mobile network is there, now we can call. This is one step forward. And then we bring the internet. If they have internet connection, I think the materials, the TV, they can use this. But let us also mention that there are many, let's say, families in Burkina here which cannot afford for a TV. This is also another problem.
And also, like, even access to electricity is less than 50% of the population.
Of course. So this is a big problem. So I think that it is a huge demand. It is a huge demand for our country to do this, but it is not impossible if only the leaders have a good will. This is a long-term perspective. It is a long-term fight. Now, then we can start doing this step by step. It doesn't mean that we have to do all at the same time. It doesn't mean we have to do it by hook to crook on the spot. But we can try. And it is said that if you have the will and then you start doing something, at a certain moment, if you are facing difficulties, some people of goodwill can come and give you a hand. But if you do not translate this, if you do not, let's say, inspire people who can help you at any time, if you don't start doing something, if you don't have the will to do this, I don't think that you're gonna have a hand from anyone.
And the saying goes that help yourself and the sky can help.
That's it. God helps those who help themselves. So it's not easy, but I think if the leaders have a good will, we can do this.
Oh, definitely true.
Yes.
And so now I actually reviewed the emergency education plan of Burkina Faso for the year 2020-2021.
Yeah.
And I saw like TV and radio were also chosen as like channels through which teaching can happen.
Yes.
Do you think that could be effective, or what can be done in that perspective?
It's the
for
same.
it to be effective.
It's the same problem. Some people don't have the money to buy a radio. You see? And it's not sure the channels that they use to teach online can be found everywhere. For instance, if I take Waga FM, where I'm giving, let's say I'm a host, because I have, let's say, a radio program there that I'm hosting too. This is English again. English brought me there. So I like giving. Life is about that, giving and receiving. So they were using this channel, but it can only be found in Bobo and Waga. So it means that if you are not in Bobo or Waga, you can listen to it.
And then the other thing is like some of those things were not used previously as teaching materials.
Sure.
So if you see your child sitting with the television all day, I mean, you will not let him sit there. Like some parents will not let their children sit in front of TV and say they are learning.
Sure. And even the teachers, those who have been recruited to teach through the radio channels and through the TV channels, they were not doing this before. So they had to learn by doing. You see? They were not trained to doing that. But they were doing it and learning how to improve themselves at the same time. That's what I said so far. I said in before, sorry. And we need to train the actors. You could see that really it was, I don't want to take an example, but anyway, we had many imperfections, okay, in this, let's say, implementation.
And that is maybe a starting point.
Yes.
We can look back and then learn from those experiences.
Yes. You said something, I would like to get back to it. The children, they are not accustomed to sitting, watching the TV and taking notes. For them, they have another idea of the TV. Maybe only sit and watch movies or do another thing, not to learn like in the classroom, formal learning. No, that some of them were just sitting, but in fact, they were not concentrated on what was going on. You see? So they need to be trained too, because they are not in the right environment where new technologies are used in order to boost their levels. But now the situation obliged them to do this. So it couldn't be so far. So we need to integrate them definitely and train all the actors who are supposed to be using these methods in order to get it right.
Thank you so much for this conclusion. It was a pleasure actually listening to the very informed information you were sharing. Like you are a teacher, you experience teaching and learning during COVID-19. Now you are experiencing the after COVID. I mean, we cannot say after COVID, but after closure. Okay. Because we still have some active cases in Burkina Faso. But I do actually appreciate